What's up? What's up?
Yo.
What's up, you guys? Welcome. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Share this with others. I'm excited. We're about to jump into it in just a
Let's
second.
go. Let's talk about that money, baby. Let's
Let's
talk about that
let's talk
money.
about it. Absolutely. Today's podcast slash training is sponsored by Dennos Funding.
Yes. So if you need any real estate funding, purchase money, rehab money, business funding, then those funding is the place to go.
Absolutely. All right. Let's do it. What's up? What's up? What's up?
We already did that.
I can do it every time if I want to. I can do it
Oh
every
man,
time.
what's up? Let us know who we got on here. I seen one of our new ex-Slipper family members, Mr. Chris Terrell, tapped in. What's up? Let us know who we
What's up, you
got.
guys?
I don't know who the Facebook user is,
Don't
but
do that.
I ain't gonna go down that road.
Hey, you
listen,
guys.
if you want to ask questions, make sure you go join the Real Estate Investing Decoded group, the REI Decoded group, so you can get in the group and actually ask questions. If you have questions about things that we're talking about, if you have questions about funding, make sure you go join the group. If you're not in the group, then don't get mad at us. We don't answer your questions. All
Absolutely.
right.
What's up, Joy?
We got
What's
another
up, Joy?
new member of the Ex Flipper family, Miss
Shout out
Joy.
to the fam.
Let's go, man. I'm telling y'all now, the Ex Flipper family is growing.
It is.
There are people taking advantage of the opportunity that's presented to them. And if you're not, hey, it's up to you.
Listen, we are all about taking massive imperfect action. So let's go. What's up,
Let's
Kenneth?
go.
Let's go. What's up, Nikki?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to share this so we can touch some more people.
Absolutely.
And help them out. Let's go.
Right.
What's going on? Let's roll. I'm ready, bro. I'm pumped today. Let's
all right,
go.
Well, let me see if you're ready.
Today.
Let's do it then. Let's do it. All right. So today's training is on how to get real estate funding. A lot of you have been asking us, like, what do we do if we get business funding? Should we use the entire business funding to do our loan when it comes to getting real estate funding? How do we do it? Is there a difference between real estate funding and business funding? So today we're going to dive into exactly what is real estate funding. All right. We say real estate funding, but the real term is hard money. All right. Hard money is non-traditional bank that lends on asset-based products. So what is an asset?
Hold up. Before you ask, why do they call it hard money?
Okay.
We do not know. That's just a term that has been coined in the industry. That's the universal terminology for real estate funding. They call it hard money.
Listen, right? So my son, I would have to call Siri and ask Siri or Alexa to find out why they have hard money. There's definitely a reason why, and I'm gonna find it for you. We don't have it
don't
right
matter
now.
To me.
Absolutely.
We just know how it works.
All right. So what is hard money? Hard money is it's a non-traditional bank. So it's not your Regions, it's not your Chase, your Bank of America. No, it's a non-traditional, but it is a bank, and they lend off of an asset. Assets are houses, things that are going to make you money. That's what an asset is, something that's going to make money. So that's what they lend. They lend on assets. All right.
And this is real estate assets, not just any type of asset.
So yeah, they're not lending on your car.
They're not lending on you to live in the house. This is investment property.
Yes, yes. So why do we use hard money? We use hard money because for one, there's little to no there's low documentation. Let me say that. There's no limit to how many deals you can do. You can use several different hard money lenders, or you can use one hard money lender and have them to do multiple projects. So it's really no limit. The only limit when it comes to hard money lending is making sure that you have enough liquid in the bank to show that you can afford the multiple projects. But it's not like traditional where it's going to hit your DTI and you can't afford to do anymore. All right. Other things with hard money is they don't look really close to your personal credit. Yes, you need to have some credit, preferably 600 or above is where they like you to be. But at the end of the day, they are strictly looking at the deal itself. So they want to know, is this the deal that we have? And from there, you're good. Hard money is so much quicker to close.
Are you going to do all of them?
I was, if you don't say anything.
I mean, you just go on there.
I can go. I could go. All right, go.
Before it started, you said you're going to do all the talking.
There's
now,
nothing in there.
You won't shut up.
There's nothing in there. That's mine. Nothing.
There's ice in there. All right, quick close. Most hard money lenders can close in 10 to 14 days with some experience. Now, if it's your first time, it might take 21 days. But that's the beauty of using hard money is it's not a 30-day process like a traditional bank.
Right. And they allow properties that can't be funded elsewhere to be funded. So if the floor is caved in and your traditional lenders are like, wait a minute, that's like a major hazard, hard money lender will still lend on it. And then when it's time for refinancing, it's little to no seasoning.
How you working? It's like you like bringing it up, putting it down. Like what's
you
going on? You
can't ask me that while we're on.
I got to because you throwing me off and like I'm like I don't know what you're doing.
Be quicker. Be quicker.
I can't be quicker.
All right. So things that the hard money lender want to know. They want to know, number one, do you have a deal?
And if you don't know what a deal looks like, we did a training on comps, and I would advise you to go back and watch that training. Or if you're watching this training and you want a replay of that, put comps in the comment, and I can have
someone on the team,
probably Nikki, send you a copy of that training. So if you don't know what a deal looks like, start there. Start watching that training so you can identify what a deal looks like. All right.
Absolutely. And then they want to know if you have money in the bank. All right. How much liquid do you have? Do you have enough to cover the down payment, the interest, and the startup of rehab? Those are typically what they want to know. They also want to know if you got money to cover their mortgage payments, those monthly interest payments. Do you have enough in the bank to cover it?
Yes. I can see if you don't want to do it.
Just go.
Also, credit above 600. Now, I'm not telling you if you got a 600, they will not do the deal. Or if you below that, I know some lenders that will do below 600. But just understand that if you're below 600, they're going to ask for more down payment money, and your money is going to cost more. So, like a deal we just did, normal hard money lender is 4 points. But because the credit score wasn't where it needed to be, they charged us 7 points. So understand, even if your credit isn't where it needs to be, you can still get a deal done. It's just going to cost you more money on the upfront tip.
Absolutely. And then having LLC documents. Hard money lenders will not lend to your personal name. All right. The deal has to be in a business entity. The business entity can be brand new. All right. But it has to be a business entity. So no, they're not going to say, they're not going to lend it in Antonio's name, or they're not going to lend it in my name. It has to be 123 Main Street LLC. Yeah. All right.
So, and you got to have a scope of work. So when we say scope of work, we need a detailed scope of work. How much is it going to cost to replace the cabinet? How much is it going to cost to paint the inside of the house? How much is it going to cost for countertop? So it's not, don't just do a big, quick scope of work. You want it to be as detailed as possible, and you want to break it up. If it costs more than $5,000 to $6,000, it needs to be broken up.
Yeah. And the reason why it should be broken up is because you're going to get reimbursed for what's on your scope of work. So you don't want to say, okay, you're going to redo your bathrooms. What does that consist of? But say you had to frame up a bathroom, add a toilet, add a new tub, you had to add the vanity, add the flooring. If your contractor didn't do all of those things, then they're not going to give you credit for it. But say your contractor may have added the toilet, added the framing, put the toilet in, put the plumbing in. You want to get credit for those things, even if you haven't finished it with painting, sheetrock, tile. You want to be able to get some money to keep your project going at all times.
And the other reason that you need to scope of work on the front end is because they're going to do an appraisal before you buy the property.
Yeah.
And the appraiser is going to use your scope of work to estimate the ARV on the property. ARV stands for
the after repair value. So what that house is going to be worth once you do those updates, how much is it going to be worth? That's what the appraiser is trying to see.
So understand, you got to have that scope of work right and detailed enough so that when the appraiser uses it and estimate the repairs, they got a good visual of what the property is going to look like. All right. So those are the things that you start there. All right. Start there.
Absolutely. All right. They're concerned with the value of the collateral. Then we already said that. Then with the borrower's credit, I just want to make sure we don't go. Yeah, we've stated all that. We can go
on. I don't think we said all that.
You don't think we said all that? Anything that stood out that I didn't see?
Yes. Okay. The bottom ones. Hard money is going to cost more than traditional money. Just almost everywhere you go, hard money is going to cost more because hard money is not conventional lending. They are going to charge you because they are doing riskier loans. All right. So you're going to pay more. If you ever compare a hard money loan to a traditional loan, you're going to pay more in points. You're going to pay more in fees. And most of the time, your interest is going to be higher. Don't expect anything different. All right.
Absolutely. And hard money does not report to your personal credit. So they're not reporting it to your personal credit, i.e. why it may be higher when it comes to the interest. Another thing with hard money is the loan terms are typically shorter, especially if you're doing a fix and flip loan. It may be 6 months to 18 months, depending on the lender that you're using. So it's not a forever style loan, no, but they do have some loans where you can have it for 30 years. You can do a balloon, you can do a 5 or 7 years.
Confused. It's too much. You're going too high in the weeds. Right now, we're talking about fix and flip loans. All right. We're talking about short-term fix and flip loans. Do they have 30-year fixed rate loans? Yes. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about fix and flip, short-term loans, buy an ugly house, fix it up, sell it, make a lot of money.
Any questions so far? Drop in the chat if you guys have any questions. So some of the qualifications is they're going to require you to complete a loan application. That loan application, I promise you, the first time I had to fill out one, I had a whole conniption. Like I would break down in the office and I would literally cry because I felt like if I didn't put the right information in, then they probably was going to deny me. I felt like I didn't know some of the questions that they were asking and they were going to deny me. So I worked up all of these scenarios in my head that they were going to deny me before I even filled out the application. Listen, the application isn't that hard. You either have it or you don't. They're going to ask you for your information, for your LLC information. Have you done any deals? That's a simple question. Yes or no?
Do you have any assets?
Do you have any assets? And they'll even break down what are assets. So do I have any CDs? Do I have any insurance that I can turn liquid? Do I have money in my savings account? Like that's all they really want to know. Do you have any funds sitting around that if something happened on this project, you're not completely broke? You can reach into your funds. you can reach into your savings and you can pull out some money.
Yes.
All right. If you don't have those extra assets, as long as you have money in your checking account, you're fine.
Good. So understand that the application is stated income, it's stated assets. So it's not like a traditional loan to where you're going to have to show your tax returns, or you're going to have to show your W-2s, or you're going to have to show your check stubs. Like you don't have to prove your income to them. You don't have to even prove you have a job. All right. You can be self-employed. The main thing they're looking at is how much money is in your bank account.
Yeah.
You do got to prove that. They are going to ask for bank statements, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 months of bank statements. They are going to ask for those. And one nugget is it's not about how much money goes into the account. It's all about how much money is in the account at the end of the month.
Bingo. That's important. So yeah, just because you have a high cash traffic in your account, no, how much are you keeping? Are you holding 10, 15, 20,000 in your account, or are you getting 20,000 and 19,000 is leaving?
Yes. So to them, that's $1,000 left. If you getting 20,000 and you spending 19,000, you only got $1,000 in this account. You can't give them an account where you're just running through money. It has to be an account where money is sitting at the end of the month. You can go to the end of the balance statement and say, I have 10, 15, $20,000. That's what they're looking at.
Absolutely. Then you got to have a photo ID. We talked about entity docs. And depending on the lender, most lenders are going to ask for 2 months bank statements. Some lenders, depending on the loan, are going to ask for 3 months bank statements. They want to know if you've owned any real estate. What have you done with this real estate? Are you renting it? Do you currently have it? Did you fix and flip it? If so, what was your spread? So they want to know, what's your real estate on? If you don't have any real estate on, then it's simple.
You don't got none.
You don't have it. NA in that box.
And your personal house is not considered in real estate today.
No matter if you did personal renovations on your real estate, on your personal home, that is not considered an asset. All right. That's not real estate owned, because that is a liability. That is your house. You got to live somewhere in their eyes.
So, right? and how you prove your experience is through HUDs. So they'll ask you, do you have the HUD, which is the statement that you get at closing? Do you have the HUD from the purchase of these properties? Do you have the HUD from the sale of these properties? You will provide that, and that's how you take care of your experience, if you have experience. And most of them like to do last 3 years. If it's farther than 3 years back, a lot of them don't consider that experience. But the last 3 years is what they really like to do.
Absolutely. And again, if you don't have it, then that's fine. You just don't have it. It's not a deal breaker at the end of the day.
It is not a deal breaker.
All right. We talked about scope of work. You need evidence of insurance. Before you purchase, they want to make sure that you have an insurance on the property, that it's paid up, whether it's paid up in 6 months, depending on the lender, or it's paid up in a year, depending on the lender. They want to make sure that insurance is done, and that if anything, they are marked as the lenders on that insurance. So if anything happens, they are notified first, and they have first approval for any payment that is being dispersed.
Yeah. So insurance is one of the things that we calculate in the estimated closing costs, because you got to have it. Lenders are not going to close if you do not have insurance and if it's not paid up for real. Now, you if you do an extension or something of that nature on a loan, you can kind of do a month-to-month then, but even then, they like for you to just pay it up. And yes, if you get a year worth of insurance and you only have the property 6 months, you get reimbursed that other 6 months. So it's not just like money wasted.
Ooh, great question. Does your business funding count as money in the bank? So it doesn't count right away until you move it into your bank account. So what you would do with business funding is you would liquidate it and put it into your bank account, let it season, and then it shows up on that statement.
Yeah. So like an example is Jimmy and Jerome went through business funding. They got $100,000 line of credit. So what they do is they just transfer their line of credit money to their business checking account, and that's what they use as proof of funds. Mm-hmm. You can't use the line of credit as proof of funds because they don't They don't want to know that you're taking out a loan to do the deal. They want to ideally say that you're using the funds in your checking account. So, like if you have a home equity line of credit, you can't say I got a home equity line of credit and
I'm getting ready to take out.
I'm gonna take those funds out to do the deal. No, that ain't gonna work. You got to take those funds out, put it in your checking account, and show your checking account. They don't even want to know about the home equity line of credit. That's for you to know, not for them to know.
And even if they do know it, they'll just see it on your credit report from that home line of credit. But from a business line of credit, they don't even see that. They don't even know you have it.
Good question, Terrell.
That was a great question. All right, so we talked about insurance, minimum 600 credit score. I've seen some do them under, but like Antonio said, it costs more to do them.
And you got to have a good deal too.
You got to have like a slam.
You got to have a deal. If you want them to go under 600 credit score, you got to have a deal.
And a lot of people always ask us, like, how much should we have in the bank when it comes to hard money? And honestly, it really depends on the deal, what that ARV is, what that loan is that you're getting. But for starting purposes, have at least 15,000 that you can show in your bank account.
Yeah. So, and one thing I want to say is, don't think that because you buy a cheaper property that you're going to need less money. It does not work like that. All right. So, quick examples, and I know I'm going to go left field on your ass.
Okay.
Jimmy and Jerome, again, they just bought their first property. Their loan was under $100,000. So because the loan was under $100,000, that's a different lender. That lender requires a certain amount of skin in the game. So they brought $20,000 to the table on a $80,000 loan. All right. Compared to Miriam did a deal and she brought $9,000 on a $140,000 loan. So understand, just because your purchase price is smaller or your rehab is smaller, that doesn't necessarily mean you need less money. All right. It's all about the lender and it's all about that deal. All right.
All right. Great question. All right. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. So let's talk about what does the hard money deal like this would look like. All right. We're going to do an example so that way you understand it and you completely, we walk you through the process. So purchase price is $74,000. Rehab needed is $35,000. The estimated value, once you do the renovations, your house will be worth $180,000. All right. All right. Square feet, 1,973. That really doesn't matter, but these are just the details of the property. 4-bedroom, 2-bath. The loan is going to be for
$109,000. So with this lender did 100% purchase and 100% rehab. All right. Now listen, it's one of the biggest things that you got to understand when you're dealing with hard money lenders is what are the terms of their money. All right. And what type of leverage do they allow? So the lender that we like to use the most, they would do 100% purchase, 100% rehab. Now, they're not giving you that rehab money when you close. They're putting that rehab money in escrow. But they will give it to you as long as you do not exceed 70% of the after repair value. All right. So that's key. Most lenders that you come in contact with, the best they're going to offer is 90% purchase and 100% rehab because they want you to have skin in the game. All right.
All right. So what does skin in the game mean? They want you to be invested in the project. So when we say skin in the game, that means what type of investments do you have in a deal? A lot of them don't want to know that you have no money in the game because that means you can walk away and it not affect you.
Yep.
So they want to make sure you have something invested in the deal, that it's not all totally invested. They're not all totally invested and you have no repercussions.
And the more you have invested, the more attention you will give that deal, the high, what's the word was it? the less likely you are to walk away from the deal if something goes wrong.
Absolutely.
You're going to see that deal through. If you got 20, 30,000 invested into that deal, you're going to see it through. Compared to 10,000, you might say, bump that, I do something else. All right. So they want to see skin in the game. And there's a seesaw when it comes to it. The more skin in the game you have, most of the time, the cheaper the money is.
Yeah.
The less skin you have in the game, the higher the money. Mm-hmm. So you can't have it both ways. You can't expect high leverage and the money to be cheap. It don't work like that.
Yeah.
So the higher leverage you get, the less money you bring to the table, the higher the interest rate going to be, the more points you're going to pay, the more processing fees you're going to pay. All right. The more skin you put down, if you put down 20% on a loan, you're going to get good interest rates. You're going to get good points because that's how it works.
Absolutely. All right. Drop your questions in the chat. All right. Let's talk about it. So loan to value for this was 60%. So this was a slam dunk on your opinion.
Slam dunk of a deal.
Yep. Interest rate was at 12%. Monthly payments will be $1,090. You want to talk about how that's calculated so they understand?
Okay. So if you want to understand how to potentially calculate how much your monthly payment is going to be, these are interest-only loans. All right. These 6 months, year, 18 months, they're interest-only loans. So you're not paying anything towards the principal on this loan. And if you want to calculate it, get some pen and paper. I can kind of teach you how to calculate what my monthly payment potentially will be. All right. So how they do it is they take that 109,000 and they times it by 12%. All right. So somebody tell me what that number is. 109,000 times 12% equals what number?
Type it in the chat. Let me see if we got a smart class today.
Let's go. What we got? Put it in there. Let us know what you got.
109,000 times 12%.
And I know we're a little delayed, so I'm gonna give y'all a little more time to put it in there. 109,000 times 12% equals what number?
Okay.
Right, there we go. 13,080. All right.
Great job.
That's the answer we're looking for. 109,000 times 12% equals $13,080. How you?
So not 13. So not one. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. I see you. We moving fast. Okay.
All right. So what you do is that's how much interest you're going to pay in a year if you have that loan. All right. How you get your monthly payment is you take that $13,080 and divide it by 12.
All right. Tell me what you get now. What would your monthly payments be if you took $13,080 and divided it by 12? How much are you going to pay if this was your deal per month for this hard money loan? $13,080 divided by 12. 12 is the number of months in
a year.
The year.
All right, Bingo. Here we go.
Bingo.
1,090. So that's how you calculate how much your monthly payment is going to be. And understand that there is no prepayment penalty. So if you have that loan for 6 months, you're going to pay $1,090 for 6 months. All right. If you had that loan for 3 months, you're going to pay $1,090 for 3 months. That's their profit. That's how they make their money. All right. So if you ever want to get a quick number of how to calculate interest, that's the way to do it. All right. Nugget. I like to estimate 6 months of interest payments as a part of my cost to do business. So if I was doing a loan, I want to add up, okay, how much is 6 months of payments on this loan? How much is 6 months of payments?
So 6 months is y'all tell us how much is 6 months of payments? If it's $1,090 and we're timing that by 6 for 6 months, how much is that? Y'all pulling out the calculators today.
Y'all doing.
Or the paper, y'all doing something. I see you. I see you.
Boom.
That's right.
6,540. I would want to make sure I have at least that much money in my account to make sure I got 6 months of interest payments. All right. And that's kind of what the lender's looking for too. That's why it's not just the money that you bring to closing. You got to have other money in the bank also, because they want to make sure you can start your rehab. They want to make sure you can make your interest payments and you're not going to be struggling. All right. Somebody put definitely the calculator. I agree with you now. Definitely the calculator. All right. So that's how you can calculate interest payments.
All right. So we talked about the loan amount. We talked about how to calculate the interest payments. We were spot on with 1,090 is how much we'll pay per month. Rehab holdback. A lot of people feel like when they get a hard money loan that they're going to get this $35,000 rehab loan immediately. Like I should be leaving the closing table with a check of 35,000 because that's how much it's going to take me to rehab this project. And they lended me 100% rehab, so I should get it, right?
Yes.
I should get it, right? No?
What not at all. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. They're going to put that $35,000 into an escrow account. And how it works is, let's go back to that scope of work we was talking about earlier. That's why it's so important. They're going to go everything off of that scope of work. So if on your scope of work, you have, I'm going to put a new roof on for $4,500. How they work is you have to do the roof and then they will reimburse you the money on your scope of work. Mm-hmm. All right. If you got $10,000 on your scope of work, they're going to give you $10,000. If you got $2,000, they're going to give you $2,000. No matter what it costs you physically, as long as you're on that scope of work, that's what they're going to give you.
So listen, it is important to have, although that scope of work is a budget and that budget is going to change throughout your project, it is so important to be as close to budget as possible because your draws are going to come back, your reimbursements are going to come back, and they are going to resemble that scope of work. You cannot change that scope of work in the middle of the project and resubmit it to the lender.
No.
You cannot.
You only get one chance. For most lenders, you get one chance to submit that scope of work. That's why it's important to have it up front and as good as possible. Because if, let's say, your appraisal comes back better than you expected, you can't go in and say, I want to increase my scope of work. Let's say your appraisal comes in lower than expected. You can't go in and say, I want to decrease my scope of work. You only get one chance to submit that scope of work.
Right.
All right.
I wanted to sing a song from that. All right. So let's make it bigger so you can see it. We can see it. All right. So this loan term is for 12 months. Yes, it's interest only. So no, my loan, I'm not paying down. Every time I pay my monthly payment, it's not paying down the principal. The same loan that I signed for the day of closing when I purchased the house is the same amount I'm going to owe when I sell the house, unless I had to do an extension, things of that nature.
Why you skipped over the points?
Because I didn't even see it. Talk to me.
All right, so let's calculate points. When you hear somebody say points, they are talking about a percentage of your loan amount. All right, so understand that 1% is equal to 1 point on a loan. In this situation, it was 3%, 3 points. And we're going to times that by the loan amount. So in this situation, our loan amount was $109,000. What we're going to do is we're going to times 3% of $109,000. That tells us how many points we have to bring to closing. 90% of lenders, you bring your points to closing up front. That's how they make their money. So if we had to pay 3 points for this loan, how much in points do we have to bring to closing? 109,000 times 3%.
What is that? And remember, your 109,000 is your purchase and rehab. All right, that's how you get to 109,000. I see your question, Joy. I'm gonna answer it after you give me this answer.
I mean, you got to get an answer there, Joy.
109,000 times 3%. How much is that? How much would your points be that you have to bring to closing?
Yes, and remember, points are paid up front.
I had someone that asked me, "Can you roll your points into the loan?" No, we can't. We rolled everything else into the loan.
All right. So how about you?
There we go.
Bingo. We said 3,270.
Perfect.
That's the answer.
Perfect.
So understand that's how many points you're gonna have to bring to the closing table. All right. So when you're trying to figure out how much I gotta bring, these are things that you need to know. How many points are you charging me? All right. How much is the interest rate? How much is my lender fees?
I've seen with a lot of these new, not new, but a lot of these under $100,000 loans that it's been a flat rate. You want to talk about that?
So back, Jim and Jerome just all on this. So what Jim and Jerome did, their lender didn't charge points. He just charged a flat fee of $5,000 because their loan was under their minimum loan amount that they like to do. So he was like, it's $5,000, take it or leave it. But because there aren't many lenders that do that size loan, we had to take it. So we paid more points, but it's just part of doing business. So if you're doing a lesser loan than $100,000, don't be surprised if you just get a flat fee instead of points.
Absolutely.
Gonna get Joy question.
All right. So Joy question is, if you put the 4,500 on your scope of work for a new roof, when will the roofer be paid? That is such a good question. So it depends on how you write your contract. Do you write your contract to say, I'm going to do a net 10, meaning 10 days after the work has been inspected, then you'll be paid? Did you say that I'm going to pay you immediately? Because that means as soon as they pull off this roof and put it back on, usually in one day, they're going to get paid. It really depends on what you communicate with your contractor, what type of agreements you have, but it can be paid immediately or it can be paid 5-10 days once you get your drawback in.
For most new people, you're going to want to make sure you have the funds in your account to pay that roofer and wait on those funds to come back. The best contractors that I work with, they allow me to wait on my draw to come back. Like, those are the best ones. If they're like, hey, I'm going to get done with this. My draw going to come in 2-3 days. Let me pay you your money in. Those are the best lenders. Those are the best contractors to work with. But it takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of communication skills to get it like that because they have to trust that you're going to get a drawback. So most new investors, make sure you have that $4,500 in your account so that you can pay that contract. I like to say have at least $10,000 in your account after you close. After you go pay your points, your closing costs, your lender fees, have about $10,000 in your account to start your project because that'll at least give you money to buy material. Mm-hmm. That'll give you money to give your contractor a little bit of money if they require it. All right.
Oh, okay. You guys, if you guys are getting, if this is helping you, I need you to put some hearts, some loves. I need you to I need to know that this is helpful today because I don't want to do a training that you guys aren't finding value out of. So I want to know that this is actually providing you value.
Are we just doing a lot of talking?
Right. Because you hear my voice, it can't do a lot of talking. All right. So Shirley says, do you have a different contract with each contractor? Yes, ma'am. Because everybody has a different scope that they're in charge of. They have different items that they are going to have to do. They have different time frames. They have different budgets, different payouts. Yeah, every contractor has their own contract unless you have a GC
what does GC stand for?
A general contractor that is managing the entire project. All right. That means you're not dealing with anyone else. So you're not hiring any outsiders. Then you only need one contractor. But
one contract.
Sorry. But that contract is different for a GC, for a general contractor, than it is when you are piecing out your work and doing different segments with different contractors.
Yes.
All right. That's a whole different contract because you want to make sure they understand the liabilities that they're taking. and I know this isn't about that, but I want to, since she asked, I want to go into it. You want to make sure they understand the liabilities. You want to make sure that they have insurance if they're doing your whole project, and you want to make sure you see it. You know it.
Yes, Miss Joy.
You know it.
We got contracts in the course for you, so don't even worry about that. Don't even stress about it. You're gonna get access to those.
All right.
Now you got to use them though. That's the part. We sit up here, we talk all day, and we tell y'all these things, but only 50% of the people, especially newbies, actually want to take the time to do the contract because it's tedious, it's time consuming, but
it saves you money at the end of the day.
Man, time, money, everything. You gotta do them contracts.
And I think for the contracts, the reason why a lot of people probably shy away from it because those conversations, those upfront conversations are tough to say, okay, if you don't finish by this time, then this is how much I'm going to deduct from your balance. Okay, I need this from you. And they're like, well, I ain't got it. I need something. Like, I need you to get it. So sometimes that conversation is daunting, but it's so important to do it because anything can happen on this flip and you want to make sure it's in writing.
Anything will happen. When them contractors get into projects, man, they get amnesia. They'll tell you one thing to get in the door, but once it's time to start doing the project, oh, I didn't charge you for that. Oh, I didn't charge you for that. Oh, I didn't know this. It's clockwork.
Yes,
it's clockwork.
Your lender gets the scope of work. Your contractor gets the scope of work. If you're breaking it up and you have multiple contractors, you still have your base scope of work, but your electrician is going to have a scope of work. Your plumber is going to have a scope of work.
Your roofer
is going to have a scope of work.
Painter.
Your carpenter is going to have a scope of work. So everybody should know what they have to do, should know what they're being paid for at the end of the day, and you should know what you're receiving. Nikki say, please do the contract.
Please do that contract.
Yeah. And just by experience, not because we want you to do extra work, just because we've taken those bruises, so you don't need to.
I've took enough lessons for y'all to not do that. And I get sidetracked sometimes, and I don't do it to this day. But every time I don't do a contract, I pay for it. Every time.
Lesson, like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why haven't you told us?
I got a person who all she do is contract. But sometimes I be moving so fast, I don't want to take the time to fill out a 10-question form to get my contract. And every time I don't do a contract, I have problems. Absolutely.
All right, loan closing fees. Those are, Antonio likes to call them, these are junk fees. All right. They're not junk fees. These are what allows the hard money team to run. All right. This pays their processing fee. Like, this is what keeps them moving because they're doing underwriting, processing, they're reviewing. Somebody has to do this information. Somebody got to send the wire. Somebody got to make sure the appraisal gets ordered. There are people that are doing these roles. So guess what? Those junk fees are just simply the pay to do business. You just pay to do business. All right. Depending on your appraisal, depending on how fast you need it.
We got an appraisal on the property and it was like $700. And the person that was borrowing the money, it was like, woo, this is a high appraisal. The appraisal is gonna be between $600 and $800.
Yeah.
All right.
And the more rushed it is, the closer on that 800 side you're gonna get it. All right. If you don't need it rushed, you'll be closer to the 600 side. So guess what? If you get a $500 appraisal, just count that on joy. All right, because 600 to 800 is what you're gonna have on appraisal.
And it's a third party that's going to do the appraisal. So they hire the appraisal out to third-party companies. The lenders are not, most lenders are not doing the appraisals themselves.
And let me say this appraisal amount is on a single family, one-door home, okay? It's not on a duplex. It's not on a triplex. That's why I said one door. It's not on a quadplex. Yes, those are all single family homes, but this is on a one-door home. The more area that they have to appraise,
the higher it is.
And the different type of appraisers that have to appraise it. So there's a whole different level of appraisers that go as you start adding doors. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Am I missing anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. Since I'm losing my voice, I'm gonna let you talk about this preliminary cost breakdown.
All right. So this is basically what a term sheet will look like. It'll give you the breakdown of all of your expenses, what you got to bring to closing, also how much funds you need in the bank account. All right. So with this loan here, we basically had to bring $8,600 to the closing table, and that covered our closing costs, that covered our insurance, that covered our prepaid interest, that covered our wire fees, our loan amount, origination, that covered all of our fees. Now, that's not including your down payment. If you do a loan where they're going to do 90% purchase and 100% rehab,
know that 10% that's missing from that 100
it's going to go up.
Your down payment. So your fee is going to go up. You're going to bring more out of pocket.
So just a quick example. If we had to do 90% purchase and 100% rehab, our money to close them would have been about $20,000 because we got to bring 10% plus we got to bring our closing costs. Also, when it says need to show funds in the bank, $18,000, roughly $19,000. Because what they want to see, remember, they want to see you got enough money to start that rehab.
Because they already see that they're taking out $8,593 from your account. So after that, are you going to be at zero? No. Because if you're going to be at zero, they're going to deny that loan all day
long. So you want to have some extra money in the account to show I can handle my rehab, I can handle my interest payments. All right.
You guys throw some questions in the chat if you have any questions. If you got any questions, I don't want this to get over anyone's head. Reggie say, keep teaching the people. Absolutely.
Man, we're going to do it. As long as they show up, we're going to teach, man.
Absolutely.
It's up to them to execute.
Absolutely.
It's up to them to take some action. But we're going to give information, and it's up to you to take some action.
Absolutely. All right. So any questions so far, you guys? If any of this, you got any roadblock that's stopping you right now, anything that's stopping you from understanding, if you did the calculations and you didn't quite understand them and you want us to dive into it a little bit more, type it in the chat. I want to make sure we got a few more minutes before our next meeting, and I want to make sure that you're able to do this on your own, and so that you can literally get off the sideline. The whole purpose of our REI decoded trainings are to get you off the sidelines. We understand that the more information you know, the less fear you have. So we're going to keep teaching you. We're going to keep providing you with this information. We want to keep taking you to the next level so that you get off the sideline. This stuff isn't rocket science. All right. I want to tell you that it's rocket science and we're geniuses. We're not. All right. We're not. This is just things that we do. If you need help when it comes to finding a lender, whether you're looking for hard money lending and you're looking for someone that has 100% purchase and rehab loan, and all you got to do is bring your points, your junk fees, let us know because we can get you connected. When you see us and you see Dennos Funding, that's a business entity that we have where we broker out loans to our best hard money lenders that we've worked with and our students work with.
Agreed.
All right. Joyce said, I need the recording. Absolutely.
If you're on my personal page or Ashley personal page, make sure you go join the group Real Estate Investing Decoded. That's where the recording will be. So just go join the group. You can go back in there and watch that recording. It's going to stay in there. So if you have any follow-up questions or we said something too fast or it really didn't click, go back and watch the recording, y'all.
All right. Good question. Shirley says, I know our project has taken a while, but what is normal time for a rehab? All right. So normal time for a rehab. This is a rule of thumb, but understand that it fluctuates. Things happen. Don't account for the weekends when I say this. If your rehab budget is $40,000, your scope of work, and it says $40,000 at the end of your rehab budget, Rule of thumb is it's $1,000 per day. So your rehab should take about 40 days to complete from start to finish. All right. Not including weekends, not including holidays. If your contractors work on the weekend, that's just a plus for you to make your deadline. But count 40 days or
business days.
Business days, absolutely.
So if it's a holiday in there, don't expect them to work. Like Ashley say, weekends, don't expect them to work. So that's a good rule of thumb for your projects. Now, if you are a first timer and you've never managed a project before and you don't have any contractors, it might take you a 30-day window of pre-construction before you get into spending that money. So let's hypothetically say that.
What is pre-construction? Let's start there.
Okay. Pre-construction is when you are finding your contractors, is when you are getting estimates and bids, it's when you are outlining your project. That's one of the most important parts of your project, to make sure that you are on budget, everybody understands what they're doing, and everything can flow.
You have all your contracts out, you know your time frames, you have everything outlined as much as possible so that you can get started.
Yes.
Pre-construction can go while you're under contract. You can be doing it, but if not, don't feel bad if you take that first 30 days to get it together. Because what we've seen is the faster you rush into it without having that pre-construction phase lined out, the more money you're going to spend on that project, the more change orders you're going to have, because you didn't walk the property enough to see all the things you missed the first 5 times you walked the property.
I walked the property there and found some more stuff.
Hence it. Listen, one of our contractors walked the property this morning and I didn't even see this. He said, whoever put this crown molding in, they put it in upside down. I was like, how did you see that? Like, what?
Yeah, you got to walk it multiple times.
You have to walk it multiple times. And I know I said things you didn't see the first 5 times. 5 times isn't enough time for you to walk your house. It's not. Like, you got to walk it, look for different things, talk about different layouts, different things that you're going to do, because the more you'll see, the less change orders you'll have, and the closer you'll stay on budget. All right. Shirley said, amen.
Amen.
Absolutely. Joy said, I got you. Absolutely. All right. So Dietrich said, I need to know more details on hard money loans that will finance 100% purchase and rehab.
You had the information. You went a different route.
Well, no. So we'll resend it to you. The one so you can look at the term sheet and look at it, because you'll probably see it in a different light this time now that you know more. You probably didn't understand it as much the first time. So what we'll do is we'll send it back to you. We'll have the team send it back to you so it's at the top of your email so you can see. But absolutely. All right.
All right. Let's roll, man. Hey, y'all was a great audience today. If you learned anything, make sure you share this with your people. Make sure you go join the REI Decoded group. If you want to talk about some real estate funding, some business funding, go to denknowsfunding.com. We got a 15-minute link on there. We don't mind talking, chatting it up to see if we can help you, get you pre-approved. If you want to start making offers, let's have a conversation to get you pre-approved.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have a deal and you want a term sheet from that deal, there's a link on denknowsfunding.com. When you click on the real estate page, there's a link that says, I need a term sheet. Go ahead and put your deal in that term sheet form, and someone from our team will send it out to you. If you need a pre-approval, go ahead and fill out that pre-approval form, and somebody on our team will also send that out to you.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Love you guys. Let me say this. If you have not signed up for the masterclass for the month of April, it's on April 25th at 7 p.m. Central. Go to www.thedenmarks.us and click on masterclass. I'm going to also put it down here. I was supposed to do it earlier. I completely forgot, but there's the link for it. Also on Thursday, I'm excited to share. We're going to have D. Nathan Payne this Thursday on our Fearless Investing podcast. If you know Nathan, you know Nathan is a go-giver. He's a rock star when it comes to wholesaling, when it comes to building his empire and wholesaling. And I really want to dig into his mental. I want to know what fears did he have to overcome to accomplish his goals. So join us as we will be having that podcast live. We will be talking to Nathan live and talking about his shit, some of the things that he's have to do to get where he's
So if you're struggling looking for deals, you do not want to miss this podcast to ask Nathan, how does he find deals?
Yeah.
All right. That's what he's a master at it. That's why we're bringing him in. Do not miss this podcast on Thursday.
All right. I love you guys. Any other questions? Make sure. Okay. Someone, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Someone said, repeat on the pre-construction guidelines. Pre-construction is that phase of gathering your information between you sending your information into the hard money lender to get that process started and knowing exactly how your flow of your rehab is going to go. All right. That's what that pre-construction phase. I recommend you do not jump into the rehab. If you close on Friday, don't jump into the rehab on Saturday. Don't jump into the rehab on Monday unless you have thoroughly planned out your construction process, what that phase is going to be, how long it's going to take, who's going to do what, how much is it going to cost, when can they start, when are they going to end. Like, you want to make sure all of that is outlined. You want to look at all your risk factors when it comes to your pre-construction guidelines.
That's it.
All right.
We got to go.
Love you guys.
Peace.